Good people, it's your girl Ashlyn Cole from your favorite show, Shop Talk, and I'm excited to share some great things with you. The Freedom Radio team has been working hard behind the scenes to make sure we have accessories that you want that helps you show support of your radio station. We have heard the voices of our listeners and have now made available these items: water bottles, AirPod cases, phone cases, both Apple and yes, even Android, mouse pads, wireless charger, and a Bluetooth speaker. These items are all available right now on our website, freedomradio.com/shop. That's freedomradio.com/shop. Or you can open the FDR gear icon in the Freedom Radio app. As always, we appreciate all your continued support and can't wait to see you with your new gear from your radio station, the People Station, Freedom Radio.
Didn't know how to call him, but even though I couldn't see, he was there.
Dito Live.
What's going on, everyone? This is your guy, Emetrius toll-free, excited to let you all know I'm finally ready to launch my own weekly podcast. You guessed it, Dito Live. Each episode, we will have a sit-down conversation about what's going on in our local community and beyond. But for right now, go and subscribe to my brand new YouTube channel. Simply search Dito Free at DTOLEFREE. I'm so excited that I can't wait for you to join me live exclusively on Facebook and YouTube for my brand new podcast. Y'all already know what it is. Yes, Sundra.
Hey everybody, hope everybody's well. Good evening. Welcome to Fresh Friday here at Freedom Radio. So glad to be hanging out with you tonight. I hope you had a really good day wherever you are. I hope you're staying inside if it's actually really snowing or you're just using it as an excuse not to go nowhere. So where I live, it's not really snowing. They just say it is. I'm from cold country, right? So anybody who knows me, I'm actually from Denver, Colorado, where, snow has been a part of my life all my life, and I choose no longer to be a part. And now I'm in a place where they say it's snowing, but it's really not. So I hope you, wherever you are warm, you're safe, and we're going to have a really great conversation here tonight on Fresh Friday. So a couple of things I want to make you aware of. Of course, we are a gospel station, and so here at Freedom Radio, you can actually listen to music 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can just turn it on. You can just go to the site. It's at FREEDEM radio.com. Yes, we still play music every single day. It's a running engine. So you can listen to music 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Okay, then shout out to the artist by the name of Vincent Bohanna. He has a brand new album that is so amazing, start to finish. I mean, seriously, fam, it's really good, start to finish. And so shout out to him for such an amazing, incredible album. And you know what I'm thinking about? I'm going to tell you one more thing. So in 1997, Karen Clarkshire recorded her very first solo album called Finally Karen. And if you are a fan of the Clark sisters in whatever space, I hope that you are. There was a song that they sang that night, and I was a teenager. I wasn't there. But I have watched the VHS DVDs more times than I can count. And there was a song that was sang at the recording called Pure Gold, on which they had already recorded in previous years, and they re-recorded it with Karen that night. Well, that song was never available on the actual album itself. But they have released a song to the public from that night. And so you can find it on all your digital platforms. Somebody that may be older is like, what is it? You can find it on Apple Music. If you don't have that, you can go, where the Android kids play. You can go to Spotify, or you can go to YouTube, and it's called Pure Gold. And it's like a gold album, like literally a gold cover. And if you love the Clark sisters at all, it's like really magic, to us that love them like that. But I promise you, it's really amazing. So you should go check it out. All right. So let's talk about some things tonight. If I want to encourage you to go to I never encourage necessarily my own personal Instagram here, but I want you to go to my Instagram. It's Yolanda, YOLANDA, Morant, MARANT. It's French. MARANT. I want you to go check it out because there's a clip there about Donald Lawrence talking about the choirs. And all of the guests we have tonight, necessarily that may not be their sector per se. I want to encourage you to go back and watch it because the importance he talks about the choirs and how effective and how important the choirs are to music, really even to the music industry, because we got Whitney Houston and, we got Whitney Houston and Aretha Franklin, even Celine Dion. Did y'all know Justin Timberlake grew up in a Baptist church? See, you didn't know that. So we got all these artists like Elvis Presley and so many more from gospel music, of course, and from the choir. So I want to encourage this again. I want to encourage pastors, if you do not have a choir at your church, to implement that so the choir can premiere Easter Sunday. It can be 5 people. Listen, just start where you start, okay? Or if you're sitting in the audience at your church and you can sing. Now listen, you may not be Aretha Franklin. That's okay. But that you have like a little bit of talent, right? Like you can at least hold a solid alto note. Even if you're not a little solid sometimes. I want to encourage you to get back inside of the choir at your church. right? Or at least ask your pastor, hey, can we start a choir? I think it'd be really good, and it does helps in so many ways. It's a community part, but it's the training, and it may not always be perfect. Listen, sometimes you won't feel like going to rehearsal, okay? You're going to be tired. The kids are pulling on you, but the investment into yourself, be it musically, spiritually, even naturally, what music actually does for the body is just amazing. So I want to encourage that. Okay. Now we're going to bring up our co-host. This is our first time having our co-host, who is actually a host here at Freedom Radio. His name is Meechie. I don't know if you want to be called by a nickname first and tonight. He'll tell us which way. Okay. So I call him Meechie though. So we have Meechie. Hi, Meechie.
Hello. Oh,
Okay,
my
okay.
voice a little raspy.
Little raspy.
Whoa. This cold air is where they wear my voice out. Hello, everybody. Good evening. So glad to be here with you all on this evening. This is my first time. I have new equipment. I'm getting my media room together. I'm actually in my media room. This is my first time broadcasting for what is going to be my media room. Yeah. So, once everything gets done, it ain't going to be looking like I'm sitting in this white room and should have on a straight jacket, like I don't went crazy. I'm good, trust me. I went crazy.
Okay. We're going to do that. And then we have a special guest here tonight with us. Now, I asked her to say her name a couple times so I could practice it. Miss Sundra. Miss Sundra. She's nodding her head as in yes, Miss Sundra Ryce. And so I'm going to let her introduce herself because I want to make, the best introduction you can always give is by yourself. Okay, so I'm going to let her introduce herself, what she does, but definitely shout out to our friend, Mr. Marquise Jokes, who connected us to her. And I think this is really going to be a really great conversation here tonight, all right? So I'm going to bring her up. Hey, how are you?
Hey, hello. How are you both?
We're good. I'm good.
Good. I'm happy.
You're happy. I always say, listen, I don't actually get a lot of people to say they're happy.
I'm happy.
So I don't know if we're gonna drag into that part. Like why are you happy? Now you gotta look kind of
like a little. That's sad that we have to say it. Why are you happy?
Well, now listen, you came to talk about one thing. Let me tell you what happens at Freedom Radio. We start over here. We end up over here.
I understand. I will roll with you all. I can roll with it. Okay.
You can roll with it.
Doing it for a long time.
I think that's refreshing to hear someone say that they are happy. I think it's just a beautiful response. And it seems like you're genuinely happy. Like there's a glow. So I don't know if it's just because you got some more money, or what I'm saying, if it's something, or you just got some more money. Okay, money can make you glow. Okay, so we're excited to have you here with us.
I didn't just get money, but I like to keep it. I like to have it and keep it. And I like my clients to have lots of money and keep it, because that's what we're called to do.
That's what we're called to do. So speaking of called to do, tell us what it is that you do. Tell us about you and who you are.
Absolutely. Yes, I am Dr. Sundra Ryce, and I am an organizational advisor and strategist and consultant. I'm a marketplace pastor, and I am a master life strategist.
Okay. Now let's go back. Let's go to the marketplace pastor, because some people may not know what that is. Can you tell us?
Absolutely. And marketplace pastor does not mean necessarily church, although I deal with a lot of churches. I advise a lot of mega churches. I go in, I deal with their top leaders. I deal with the organization itself in terms of, the health of the organization, the sustainability of the organization, and the sustainability of leaders. So I'm a stand for leaders. My whole thing is who takes care of the leader that takes care of everybody else. But as far as marketplace, I am a pastor in terms of, I deal with leaders, I coach leaders, I consult with leaders, and they're usually from the marketplace. So it doesn't have to be necessarily a leader, but they are leaders in their own right, whether it's from entertainment, church, government. I have the great honor to be able to coach people for a number of years. I've been a businesswoman for over 30 years.
Wow. Okay, this is amazing. And so tell us the name of your company, please.
My company is, I have a couple companies. My company is Rice Development and Sundra Ryce Inc. SRI. Those are my two companies.
How did you start?
So that's a good question. So I started about 30 years ago. My parents are both entrepreneurs, and I started in entrepreneurship. I started my company years and years ago, and I started a construction company, construction and development company. And my dad was in construction, so I followed in his footsteps at the time. I also followed in my mom's footsteps later, getting my doctorate and all that good stuff. But I started out in construction. I opened a plumbing and heating company, believe it or not. And I was just coming out of my teens. I was just graduated college, 21 years old, and I grew that business on Black Enterprise magazine on the cover. And then I actually went into construction management and general construction. So that's how I started. But probably about 15 years ago, I started, tracking something different, and God started tracking something different with me, because I was the burned out leader, and I was once the burned out leader. And I wanted to do something about it. And so I went back to school, got my doctorate in organizational leadership, because I had this call, this pull to help leaders and organizations take their lives to the next level, create incredible lives, and create an amazing quality of life. Because I had seen a lot of leaders, I was once the burned out leader, but a lot of leaders burn out, but also didn't have the, tools for sustainability. And then, believe it or not, it was so relevant after COVID that, my other leadership practice really, really took off, because, everybody needs a couch, and so I'm in the realm of psychology and development and leadership development and just helping people. I'm a stand for leaders and individuals who want to take their lives to the next level.
Wow. What's your greatest? Why do you like to solve problems?
Oh, see, Yolanda, how did you know? My genius. I'm gonna be honest with you. You didn't see. We're tracking. My genius is problem solving. I can solve a problem in 20 minutes. And if you do a study, I have a rare book collection, and of Cooper's work, Shakespeare, and I love my rare book collection. So I study Winston Churchill, and years ago he said you can solve the world's problems in 20 minutes. And honestly, God has given me that gift. So when I go into and it's a good thing, people have problems all the time. So whether I'm coaching high level individuals or pastors or CEOs, everybody has problems all the time. And I really do get paid to solve problems.
Why do you enjoy it?
I love it because I'm a strategist, and I love it. Just gets me going. Whenever if somebody says, okay, this is going on, it's like, here goes my genius, my wheels are turning. It's just like, I hear the right questions. And also I listen, because I love my clients. I love. I'm in love with my clients. Whenever somebody comes on board, I love them, and I love to see them grow, Yolanda, develop and evolve. And a lot of times I see people get stuck, and we get stuck in our problems. We get stuck in our trauma, whether it's leadership trauma, whether it's personal trauma. And the whole thing is too, and other people's trauma, because when you're leading, whether it's leading a family or leading in a corporation, you're dealing with your problems, your trauma, and other people's trauma. So I love to get in there and help people to just push forward, break through, and just connect. And so I have some strategies and some leadership work that I do, like in my seminars and my consulting, where I really help people break through, because that gives me passion. And I know that the gift that people have in their lives, they have these gifts and talents and abilities, and they're doing amazing things in life. And sometimes life just happens to you. So I just love to solve problems. And that's so crazy. I think this is the first interview probably in 30 years that somebody tagged it just like that. Why do you like to solve problems? Because that's what I do.
So I want to jump in a little bit here and just do probably kind of derail from the leadership aspect, because one thing that I captured in reading your bio was about development and how much money you have put into or have received as far as projects and development, over 500 million, I believe it was, in dollars, as far as development and assistance across the United States. So considering the current climate that we're in, the financial climate that we're now in due to the current administration. I'm a new home person. I just got my first home. And the biggest thing is considering, one, I've always had this mindset of wanting to become an investor, more and more on the property side of things, because it's a lot of money in property if you're flipping and kind of building your own type of, not more so real estate, but having some properties you can rent out. Phaedra Park said something a long time ago on Atlanta Housewives that has always stuck with me. She says, if I'm not making money in my sleep, I'm broke. And that's my mindset that I'm kind of at. And with this climate that we're in right now, and with this administration, and with so much going on with us, even possibly going to another government shutdown, what would you say to us that are trying to figure out where do we go from here as far as investments? 401(b)(s) and everything is starting to look different now. What would you recommend that we probably look into or maybe consider?
Well, I love that you asked that question, Meechie, because one of the things that is really important, I think, in life now, as we stand in, this disruption that we are experiencing in this country and actually worldwide, globally, and then what's happening and what's trending in leadership and what's trending in, corporate America, what's trending in the marketplace. I think that if we can, and you can, it's so important to create multiple streams of income. And like Phaedra said, make money while you sleep. That's what that does. It's passive income. So it's really taking the time. Now, this is where my leadership programs come in, and my leadership. This is a time where you have to look at your genius, and you have to look at all those things that God has given you, because a lot of times you have dreams, visions, businesses, people die. Miles Monroe said one of the richest places in the world is the graveyard, because so many dreams have died there. So many people have just, left them there. And so what we want to do is get those businesses, get those organizations out in the world. And if you already have an organization, you want to look at how do we grow, develop, and evolve that organization? How do we level it up? How do we take it so that we're not only just having income? Because that's another thing. I said that in the beginning when she was asking me, why are you happy? Did you just get some money? No, it's not that I just got some money. It's just that I want to be able to be a person, not to just, because I can make money very easily. I've always had that gift, but not just make money. But in this climate, Meechie, we need to have money. We need to keep money, and we need to have sustainability and have those tools and know how to do that so that we can really scale up, and also so we can give back. Because, we don't just have these ideas and these businesses just for us. They are really to serve a need. And that's why God gives us that dream. That's why he gives us those abilities, because we need to serve a need. So, I'm about kicking people in the butt and saying, come on, let's get out there. I'm very authentic. When people coach with me, I coach with some really high level leaders. And I love them. I deal with love and empathy. But I also say, come on, what do we have to do? Because we have a work to do. You know what I mean? It's like faith without works is dead. We have a work to do, and we have the ability. God's not going to come down from heaven and say, okay, yeah, I'm going to give you this. No, he gives you a dream. He gives you an idea. So what I help people do is bring that into the world. And so I agree with you with the passive income. And that's a question that is uniquely tied to each person, I think. That's a question that, you need to sit down and say, okay, what is it that I'm called to do? What can I do now? What can I do with the resources? And leadership is really managing resources. That's what it is. So anybody can be a leader.
Right. That is interesting that you said that, because the thing about it is, one thing with me is just I have so many things. So many things.
Most people do, Meechie. That's the thing. So many things.
It's like so many things. And I did a Miracle Me t-shirt line that went really well. But then I got so overwhelmed with that, and then got so consumed with work. I always find myself getting lost in my career. I work in healthcare. And I'm one of those people that I get to where I get lost in my work. And I forget about everything else around me. And I just get lost in my work. And so I did launch a nonprofit last year. I have recently partnered with someone who already has a 501(c)(3), to kind of help me kind of derive from that process until I can really get to that process. Now I'm just getting into the business licensure piece. But we launched it last year. It was Meechie's Community Outreach, a nonprofit, to go out and assist the homeless as far as feedings and providing clothing, PPE supplies and things of that nature. But now it's become to a mindset of, even with everything that's going on, even just branching it out to provide even assistance with, insurance questions. It's a lot of things with insurance. A lot of people getting pulled into different insurance policies, health benefits that aren't really helping them. It's just kind of giving them something to have in case they go to the emergency room, honestly. And so it's just, helping people and kind of being that voice to kind of aid people in that direction as far as healthcare, health insurance. Because I've even had to help my mother. She's, with all the administration, her insurance was going to skyrocket. She's retired. And so she sent me some plans to look over. And of course, with my background, I was able to be like, no, this is the one that you need. And she was able to actually save money. And so I was like, wow, I wonder how many other people don't have a me and just have to go with what they have. And now they're stuck. And working in healthcare and working with the surgical team and having to call patients at the beginning of the year to tell them that their insurance no longer is accepted or their plan is over, and to hear these seniors, crying and saying, I don't have any other insurance. I'm waiting for Medicare to say something. I'm waiting for the state to say something, waiting for the county to say something, Medicaid, like they're just sitting in limbo waiting, wow, in pain and suffering. So it's so many different things, like, and it's like, how do I get to this point? Because my passions are just
everywhere. Moving. You have lots of things. And so many high impact leaders do, Meechie. And that's why it's important to have a good person in your life, a coach in your life, a consultant who can work with you, or a group, a community of impact. And that's what I do, a community of practice. I do a lot with bringing leaders together, because you can't be in this alone. You know what I mean? Because you have so many ideas. And I started out saying that Miles Monroe says, so many dreams die in the graveyard. But the point is, we start getting dreams and visions when we're young. I knew I was called to the marketplace when I was 11 years old. God gave me a vision, and I saw myself in a corporate room with in a high-rise building with a CEO, and I had a huge Bible under my arm. He couldn't see it, but I had and it was a global company. And so I knew then that God called me to leaders, and God called me to people that may never walk in our churches. And that, he would send me in, and it would still be marketplace. It would still be, because people still love the Lord. They may not come in churches traditionally, but they love the Lord. And so again, back to those dreams and ideas, we have so many, they start young. And that's why you have to have a good system to push them out. You know what I mean? Because if they get stuck and you have 20 dreams, it's going to be difficult to move. And so that's what we try to do in our programs. And that's what I try to do with leaders, because I deal with people like you, people who have high impact, people who have dreams. And let me tell you something. When you start moving on one, you'll see, and I tell leaders this all the time, and individuals, people are generous. You can ask. Once you get it planned, okay, I have this healthcare business. This is what I'm doing. This is what I need. I have the 501c3. I'm now, qualified. Now you can go to a foundation and they can say, okay, here, Meechie, here is, $25,000, or here's $100,000, whatever that looks like. But people are generous, and there is money out there still. And there are still ways to do it, and there's still ways, but it's important. My point here is to move those dreams into the world.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. I would like to ask you a question. So, let me be clear. I am as I mentioned, I'm a full-time creative. That's why you see my eyes going over, because I'm managing multiple things at one time. But I'm a full-time creative, have been for 20 plus years. I've been singing all my life. And truthfully, because this is a Christian station, so as you're talking, it's like I feel downloads. And my thought to ask you is, why do people dislike systems?
Well, I think, and are you speaking just people, or like maybe church people? Let's just.
Well, maybe I'm speaking in the sense of, I think I think creatives have
You
hard
said
time
church people. I
with
saw your
systems.
mouth, Meechie. You said church
Yeah.
people. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I
I
digress.
say that. I think creatives, and I think sometimes, I don't want to say black church, but I think that may be true in some, not all cases. And I think sometimes when we are the most talented. We are the most of us are the most. Let me correct. Most of us are the most talented, the most gifted. We have all these ideas, and we have a lot of times we plan poorly. We don't execute well, and then we frustrated because we didn't get the impact that we wanted, but there was lack of execution, right? And so I feel like when I heard you say systems, I think a lot of times there are no systems in place. So, if I could just talk plainly, like for what I do every day, for what Meechie knows that I do, I always say, this is a church girl in me, okay? I always say, we feel like, it's like we forget, I'll use Easter. It's like we forget that Jesus died. So we literally wait 5 days before Easter Sunday to say we're going to do the kids' speeches, or we're going to do the play, and then we feel like, oh, no one came. And but then there's no follow-up, right? And I know you do not only deal in church systems, but I think it's interesting that the things we're learning in the outside spaces in the world, we don't bring them to the church. So there's a reason why in such big corporations, this works well. They have a human resource center. They have this over here. They have this over here, right? And I think because we are church, we feel like that should not be here. And someone was helping me last night with something, and they kept asking me, what is the kingdom? And I said, what's this? And they said, no, it's government, Yolanda. It's this, it's this, and that. So it's like we don't have clean systems. Not everybody, but a lot. Right. Does that help?
Yes, it does. And that's why the church needs me. That's why the church needs me. People like me. Everybody needs a couch. No, you are right. And I just brought up Black church because I think it's important to be honest about where we are and who we are. I think that is a big missing piece in the church. And like you said, Yolanda, it's not all churches. We know that because there are churches with systems and mega churches and different things. So we know that, and we're not acknowledging that. So I know all three of us acknowledge that. But I think, we have this faith culture in the church, this spirituality that has been like generation to generation where, it's like people ride things till the wheels fall off. They don't steward things well. They don't steward endings well. We don't deal with sustainability well. And there are such resources in the United States or in globally where you are. And then we just like over spiritualize and say like, oh, well, we can't do this or whatever. No, we do need to take the things that the world is doing I'm not going to call it the world, but let's say corporate America or the marketplace is doing, because we see that it works. So why would we create insanity? Why would we do something and keep doing something that doesn't work? Like you said, if there's systems that need to be set up. And so one of the things I did in my doctoral program and working with Pepperdine University, who I collaborate with and I'm partnered with, one of the things I created was a leadership system. And that system really looks at, like you said, how do we impart systems into our personal leadership, into our organizations or our entrepreneurships and our empires. And that's also looking at teams, who's on your mountain, because the thing is, we don't do this alone. I just talked to Meechie, we don't do this alone. We're all better together. And my whole thing is, and in my programs is, we all rise together. Let all the boats rise together with the tide. It's like it's not just one person. And I think that's another thing, Yolanda, that's just coming to me while I'm talking. It's like it can only be in the church culture, sometimes Black church culture, it can only be like one person or two people. Yeah. When God has given all of us these gifts, yes, ma'am. These gifts to steward. It's like Matthew 25 is something, and leaders who are on, and I see some of my people commenting, and some of people who are in, we call Dr. Sunderland and attending programs. But one of the things that, God is really pressing on me is Matthew 25. Like, okay, I've given you gifts. But now, sometimes he wants the gifts back. and he wants you to move on to other things. Like, why would you be on a cell phone from 20 years ago? None of us do that. We update our cell phones every 6 months if we could, you know? It's like, because it's new technology, it's a new operating system. So, Yolanda, those systems are so important. And I think it's so important to have somebody who is like for you, who is a stand for you, who is always looking at systems, academia, looking in the world, looking in the marketplace, what is happening. Because oh, I love the dog. I see the dog coming in. I love dogs. I don't have one. I do have a grand dog. His name is Biscotti. Hi, Biscotti, if you're out there listening. I have a grand dog, but that's it. Yeah. So that I think systems are important, and and they're important for communication. They're important for sustainability. They're important for growth and development. And there are so many things that I can recommend, and we can talk about that later, to really help leaders to move into different categories, or see how do I build my company to last? Jim Collins, he has a book, Built to Last. It's one of my favorite business books, 25 years. Built to last. When you look at these big companies, Toshiba and Southwest, and how they've evolved. Some companies started out with widgets, and now they're doing, something totally different in a different marketplace. And so I just feel like the church does not keep up with that, but it's time now for us to keep up with it. And I know that's why God has sent me to do this work.
Yes, I want to say this. So again, shout out to Marquise Jelks, who
yes, shout out to Marquise.
We love him. So I want to make sure I do ask you one or two of the questions you ask, and so I may go over just a little bit, boss. Shout out to our boss, Demetrius. Demetrius Tofrey at Freedom Radio. But you said something that sparked my thought, that the church is about 15 to 20 years behind technology. So we found out during the pandemic, when people like myself who were encouraging the church to do something as simple as websites or connect with the socials and this. And when the pandemic happened, there were a lot of people that were in a panic because they didn't know what to do, because they had, as you do, they had no system. They rejected, and I'm not saying I feel rejected, but they did reject people like me. They rejected the idea of jumping in this lane. So when you said, well, I kind of catch up, I think what happens is because of how what you said, like sometimes how we think, we feel like we can't bring that over here, right? But I personally think the kingdom should be on top, and I mean this in the nicest way. I think the kingdom should be on top. But it's like what happens is it's the reverse. It's sometimes, to me, feels like the corporate or the marketplace is on top of us. And then if they, paint fences red, 5 years later, we're painting fences red. But that's over. The fences are now black. They're not red anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly. So I love that you're bringing these things to light, because I feel like there are not enough conversations, and not just about church, the marketplace too, the music industry too, where we kind of just stay in this one thing because this is all we know. We don't really expand our worlds, right? Meechie travels a lot, which I love, because I think traveling expands your world. When you're going to different countries and different spaces and places, you see that people don't live like you. They don't walk like you. They don't talk like you. And because I think sometimes we get stuck in our own four wall, and it doesn't allow us the opportunity to expand. So I want to ask you this question from Marquise. What's the difference between a secular leadership and church leadership?
Okay. And shout out to Marquise. Hey, Marquise. He is the phenomenal one. Love him.
Absolutely.
And before I get into that, I'm going to say this. And I tell people this all the time. What's true for you is not true for the world. Yes. And I think that's where the church gets stuck a lot of times. Just because it's true for you, or you think it's true for you, it is not what's happening globally. It is not what's happening. And then I want to comment, because I love what you said, Yolanda, in terms of the church should be on the top. And see, that's what's happening out. God is actually bringing back. That is his heart. He wants us to be on top, all of us to be on top. And that's why he is releasing these, I would say the new prophets, with this new anointing, because that is exactly what it should be. We should be on top. And I'm here to help build us and help put us on top and help put leaders on top so that we can be who we need to be and we can represent him in the earth and in the world. Because again, a lot of people, how God uses us in our giftings and abilities and businesses. Again, we deal mostly a lot of times with people, again, who will never walk in your traditional church.
Yes.
And you are a witness, because that is God's heart. His heart is discipleship. His heart is to steward disciples, to make heaven more crowded, to bring people in, you know what I mean? And give them a chance for life, and then abundant life. And not just to live like kind of beneath our privilege, but really to live abundantly. And so so back to your question, there is a difference between, what I see in the church and what's happening in the world, and, what we say sacred and secular. And again, it's about those systems. It's about those leadership systems. It's about, do we, and how and what ways will we take time and opportunities to make sure that we invest in ourselves. Now, the Bible says, love others, love your neighbor as you love yourself. I think we don't do enough of that. We're trying to do and trying to, but we're not taking care of ourselves, and that's where wellness comes in. And you see that in what they're doing in corporate America and what's happening. And in studies right now, they're looking at how do we promote wellness. How do we make sure that our leaders are well? Because if your leaders aren't well, your organization is not going to be well. So that's the thing that, we love to deal with in my company. We go in and we look at wellness. We look at, okay, it might be, behind in the front stage, how it is on the center stage. You're a singer, it's center stage, but backstage looks different, and nobody sees what's backstage, right? They're sitting in the audience enjoying the beauty. They don't feel the hot lights that are on you. They don't know what just happened before you came out on stage. So it's just, it's real. And, again, and it's a lot of trauma, but I think in the secular realm, they're dealing with that. They're talking about it. It's not a secret. It's not taboo anymore. And so again, when I joke and say the church needs a couch, that is a part of what I do. And it's, and if it's taboo, I'm here to break through the walls and let it rip. Okay. Break it down, because we need to tell the truth about where we are. And and a lot of people need mental health in order just to have healthy leaders and healthy organizations.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead, Meechie.
Well, no, I was just going to add, you guys said the church on top. I think the biggest question is, or the biggest concern for me is, does the church even know what on the top looks like? Do they even know what it takes to even get back to the top? Because the church has become so caught up in what the world is developing and how the world is developing, to the point to where the church has just really become a place of gathering. Not really more so a place where it's more of a worship experience. It's more of an, it's so theatrical at times. It's so, it's like you here for a concert and then somebody comes out and preach to you. It's almost like, what happened to that, that mother that used to belt out and shout that praise and worship song, or those 10 deacons that would be down there moaning and praying before service started. Like, what happened to those things? Where did we go to where we just felt this was no longer needed? And we say, we always want to try to, create a space for our youth and our young adults. And I'm like, okay, I got that, until I had to remember I used to be a youth and young adult. And so I think it's not really creating a space, but really seeing, I guess, what works. I really don't know. Because for me, we was fine with that praise and worship. Fine with that, I was cool with it at 16. I love, when I got my driver's license, I would power by me and my crew. We would still go to church. Like, and I think it really doesn't have more so of the church. Everybody keeps looking at the church. It has to do with the home environment that has changed, the parental guidance that has changed. See, I was raised in a house where my mama would tell us, I'd be like, hey, mama, hey, my homeboy gonna stay tonight. Do his parents know that you go to church? Do his parents know that he will be getting up and going to church as well? Like, that's the way my house was set up. And so for me, it just kind of rolled over. Whether I started going to church every day as I became an adult or not, some of my siblings don't go as much as I go, but they still know when to get up and go to church. And when they go to church, they don't need to, it don't have to sound like that gospel hip hop show for them to enjoy the service. You know, like they don't. So it's kind of like, how do we get back on top when we're always trying to blend?
Can I respond to him before you respond?
Oh yeah.
I think I say Meechie knows this. I was raised. I'm gonna say this forever, and till I'm 100. Then where Jesus come back in between. I was raised by a country mama, right? And so my mom used to say this all the time. They can join, but if you don't have anything for them to do, why would they stay? And so as he's talking, I thought about that. Now I'm really trying not to get emotional because I really do love us and I love the church and I love gospel music. But I think, in my opinion, now you're the, I deal with Meechie knows I deal with what I call the kids, right? So I do the church work, I do the pastors and preachers and artists. But what I don't see is the opportunities. I don't see the activities. So growing up, Kojic, Church of God in Christ denomination, they played 12 instruments. Oh, okay. So you grew up in, so I'm jealous of you because you grew up playing 12 instruments and I can only sing.
No, I grew up in the Church of God in Christ.
Yeah,
so you grew up in Church of God in Christ, right?
That's what I was agreeing with you.
Okay.
With.
You grew up in Church of God in Christ. So I grew up Baptist Gospel. That means you can play 12 instruments and I can only sing. I'm grateful. I want to keep that. But I say that because there was opportunity. And so in the opportunity, you worked out this gift, right? And you kept working it out. And that means you worked it out at Wednesday night Bible study. And you tell me, because again, you're expert as I'm talking, right? Could that have been a system? You work this out at Wednesday night Bible study. You keep working out and keep working out. Okay, you're getting better. Now you can do Friday night. You get that locked down. And now you can do Sunday morning. And this is how we get all of these great people, right? I think what happened is we, along the way, even, again, you tell me, I think those systems have been lost. And so there are other things, in my opinion, there's no space for that now. And now the pastor is 90 and he's still pastoring and he's tired. And, sister so-and-so, she's 75 and she's still ushering because there's no expansion outside of your life, outside of here.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that is a great point. And I always talk about this book and I tell every person to get this book, every person and every leader. And it's called Necessary Endings by Dr. James Cloud. And it's a best-selling book. He wrote the book Boundaries, but this particular book is really amazing for us because, again, I mentioned, we ride things till the wheels fall off. And I have a protest against that. We need to steward endings better. And so I'll just leave it there. But the other point in terms of what the church, so there's so much to learn from the church. There is so much that the church, I know, has given even the three of us and our listeners tonight. Because, that's where I learned the Bible. Listen, that's where I learned to pray. That's where I learned foundationally, to not just quote scripture, but then to prophesy on top of the scripture, to say, you know what, God said, ask and it shall be given. And so, that's how I live. Like, let me ask because he said it shall be given. I'm going to take the principles that he gave me and I'm going to make these gifts work that he has given me and expand the kingdom. Matthew 25. I was talking about that second part where it talks about the gifts and the talents. But I think, what we've lost is that we did not update the systems. We didn't. So yes, there are support systems. I wouldn't be who I am, Yolanda, Meechie, if I did not know how to pray and hear God. When I go into organizations, whether it's sacred or secular, whether I'm sitting at the board table or whatever, or I'm preaching, I hear God. I hear what What is it that you need for this organization? Why did you send me here? What do I need to operate? I was telling somebody the other day, and I think she's listening, Tracy. It's not, I don't ask for now a fresh anointing. I'm asking God for a new anointing for what he is calling me into. We need to ask for a new anointing. I got that from Mark Batterson's book. I just read that book recently, In the Pit with the Lion on a Snowy Day. You ever been there? In the Pit with the Lion on a Snowy Day by Mark Batterson. But he talks about that, being ready for the open door, being ready to take the open door. And that's how we're going to get back on top, Meechie. We're going to have to be obedient. We're going to have to take the manna of God. We're going to have to take these things we learn, but also ask God, what are you doing new? I mean, he can't be doing the same thing he did 75 years ago or with the 90-year-old pastor. I mean, it can't be. Or how is it sustainable? And so that's why we're coming with the sustainability tools, the leadership practices, because we need to help churches, organizations, leaders to sustain and also have this is another thing. And I'm doing a study with Pepperdine University right now. I'm the lead researcher as quality of life for leaders. I'm really looking at now, that's a new anointing for me. What is our quality of life? So you're getting to the top or you're growing, but what is your quality of life? Like you said, Meechie, what does your home life look like? What does your family look like? What are your communication practices? What does that look like? Are you truly representing the kingdom? When you walk somewhere, do people say, well, I want to be like him or I want to be like her because they're representing the kingdom? And I think we need to do a better sense of representation to the kingdom of God.
Absolutely. Wow. I want to salute you because I think there's not enough conversation like this, actually. I saw something yesterday. I am a curvy girl, proudly. But I saw something yesterday that I never considered. And there was a young lady singing, and she was a pretty curvy girl. And I thought to myself, how long are we going to let this happen? Right? I don't know how to say this without, she's obviously overweight. Right? And it's something you said just triggered this thought. And I thought, why is this never a conversation? It don't need to be a public conversation with us. But why, and then shout out to my really good friend. His name is James Brown. And he once said to me, he said, we are the most interesting people. Because we will go to a funeral, we will holler, we will scream, we will fall out, we do all these things. They're not bad, and then we eat the same food that killed Uncle Johnny. And I've never seen repasts the same. And so when you're talking, my thought is we don't talk about health. We don't talk about what we're talking about a little bit more, but we don't really talk about health. We don't talk about mental health. We let our leaders, our worship leaders, whatever leading capacity, we let them go and go and go and go and go and go and go. They look tired. They look worn out. They look exhausted. And then we just let them go and go. I remember when Bishop Blake retired, I remember some people felt like, why is he retiring? I thought, why is he not? Doesn't he deserve to enjoy the rest of his years on the earth without having to manage people, right? So I really want to commend you because I think it takes a certain amount of strength and guts, if I can even say, to go into these spaces that have been kind of disrupted for a really, really long time. And to say, hey, if you don't do this better, you probably say it, really, really just super clean. Again, I was raised by a country mama. So if you don't get this together, you're going to be going in this circle forever and it's never going to grow. And it's just always going to just be right here. Has that been difficult for you?
Well, I would say this I'm a firm believer in this in my own life and also in my practice and in my consulting, that when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And so for me, it's so important that, everybody can't work with me because everybody's not ready. But those who are ready, God is sending my way. God is sending my way, because because some people are ready and they're hungry and they're like, I can't do this I can't sustain this. I need a quality of life. They are looking on the other side and peeking, beneath the sheets. There's some things I need to do. And so I am a wellness. I mean, that is where I sit in wellness and well-being for individuals, for leaders. And that means a lot of things. It means not just spiritual. And that's where I think the difference between the sacred and the secular. It's not just spiritual. There are people in the secular, let me be honest, who are spiritual. There are people in the secular who love the Lord, who I go into, like different corporations. I go into people love the Lord. It's a secular corporation. It's not spiritual, but it spiritualizes. Okay, Jackie says, I agree. A lot of church conferences have church all the time instead of having sessions on health and wellness. Jackie works with me. She is a part of my team. She is an amazing, her business is about wellness and practice. We collaborate together because we really believe in people having well-being. And when you are well, then you can do more things, better things. I see a lot. This is what I see trending a lot when I go into organizations, and then especially church organizations and mega churches and different things. I see leaders who are burned out or either on the edge of burnout. They don't know how to communicate it, because sometimes, with leadership, it's difficult to, especially, this is what I see too with churches, and, a lot of churches who were small and then they became medium size, or, their growth pattern did start, but they're still operating like a mom and pop shop, as we would say in the business world. It's just like they're this big church, or they're, big church, but they still have some of the ways that they are holding on to that are not healthy. And so how can you keep going? How can that be sustainable? So it's, again, about sustainability, and it's about, really having the conversation. It does take a lot of boldness. Bishop Jakes told me one time, this is some years ago, he was one of my clients, and I said, I need you to pray for me for something. And whatever it did, I said, I want you to pray for courage. I just need courage because I'm transitioning, I'm going through. And he's like, you know what, Sundra, I could pray for a lot of things for you, but I'm not going to pray for courage because it's a waste of my time. You have courage. So God has called me with a boldness and with a, and I don't mind, I say this to my leaders, and this is why I say, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. Because, when I come in, I'm a truth teller. I'm a transitional leader. I'm also a transformational leader. I'm a servant leader, but I will tell you the truth. Whether you coach with me, whether I consult with your organization, whether I come in to preach, I'm going to tell you the truth about what's going on. And you may not ever invite me back. People generally do. The next day they invite, can you stay? But if you don't invite me back, I'll be okay with that because I know that I'm going in, on assignment and for a reason. And so that's why I say I'm a marketplace pastor. I'm a marketplace leader, and God uses me in that way because, everybody, even leaders need that. Leaders need a leader, the leader of leaders. Leaders need a pastor.
Wow.
You talk about health and wellness. I noticed one thing that we, not even the church itself, just the culture itself. We struggle with not only health or wellness, but even with, life insurance, making sure, we have our affairs together. For some reason, we have this mindset, I guess, we all, of course, know what everybody wants to live forever. But, in reality, we all have an expiration date. But we get to the point where that's just a conversation piece that we really don't talk about. As a family, as a community, as a church, not even really as a culture. Like, how do we get to that place? Because right now that is becoming so needed, especially the way this world is going. Like, it is so needed. How do we get to the place to where we build that space of conversation? Or even have the leaders have that conversation with their church, their community. Just, the church will tap in and have a political message and everything else, but we won't have a message about real life and how to continue to go about life.
So Meechie, listen, I'm a person too. When people raise their hands in my leadership classes or cohorts and different things, I say, guess what? You volunteered yourself. That's something you can do. That is actually if you have the church realm, you can actually go into churches and push that agenda. You can go into organizations and push that agenda. But you're right. And that happens in the family structure where we don't, and that's where, individualize, where I'm a stand for leaders and strategy. And so I agree with whatever we need to address. And when we are, in a Black family, I remember even in my family some years ago, I had to sit down. I would think I was in my almost early 40s. I know I don't look though, but I am 51. I'm 51.
I thought you was on
See,
the
that's why
third.
she grown, because she
I
wants
have
to
my
tell
fan.
us what
I have my fan approval.
I thought you was only 25. I mean, you just said.
Oh, thank you. But probably in my early 40s, I had to sit down with my parents. Now, my parents are business owners, pastors, same thing. I grew up in the church, but I sat down and I took accountability for the family. I have an older sister, but I was like, let's sit down and let's talk about what's going to happen, parents, when you die. What do you want to happen? What do you want your wishes to look like? And that was such an uncomfortable experience, but we made it happen. And I saw through that experience and this was, 11 years ago, 11, 12 years ago, and it's so sad that so many families don't do this. I had this unction to do it, but I'm like, we need to sit down and find out what our wishes find out what's in the bank accounts, what's going to happen, because what we don't want, like you said, with the state planning, we don't want the state to come in and take everything from us. We want to be able to know. And that's another thing. Why are we so secretive? Jackie, knows about that. Jackie says DNR, people need wills. Yeah. Is it a do not resuscitate? This needs to be a conversation. Do you want to be resuscitated or not?
Yes.
These are questions, estate questions that we need to talk about. And this is all a part of our life strategy, growing, this is a part of wellness.
It's great. It's funny that I'm sorry to cut you off, but it's funny that you guys mentioned the DNR. I have never, the first time I heard that mentioned to me was when when I was diagnosed with cancer and had to begin chemo. And they was like, they brought this paperwork and it was DNR. And I was like, what is this? What does this mean? And that's when very first time I ever learned. And I was 40 some years old, 43. I'm 50 now. So it's like stuff like that. I never even knew. Parents never mentioned it to me. Never had it brought up in a conversation. I've even sat in seminars about life insurance policies. Never, ever heard the term DNR until I was diagnosed with cancer and began chemo.
Yeah. And that's so sad. So we do need these conversations, and we need to talk about the things that are taboo and the things that we haven't been talking about for years. We need to start talking about it. And we are starting those conversations because it's so critical for our health, for our culture, the sustainability of our culture as Black people. And I know I would say, if you would ask, like, what's happening in the marketplace right now, what's happening? There is such an opportunity for Black and brown people and Black and brown women, even though, I know it's crazy in the government, but there is still an open door, and there are things happening. Yes, there are still biases. Yes, there are still things to overcome. There's still things that I have to overcome, being a woman in business, being a female in business, usually being a female going into organizations that have been male dominated. I've been in male dominated industries all of my life, but even though they're there, there's still an open door. There's still, what we're doing, I'm seeing as Black and brown people, there is a hope, because we are doing more self-reflection. We are starting, like you said, Meechie, to have some of the conversations like, what's going to happen? What does this look like? We are it's really taking agency. We're taking agency over the things that we need to take agency over, and creating boundaries instead of just letting everything go and everybody just say anything they want to us. We're saying, no, that's not going to happen. Here are the boundaries. Here's what's going to happen. And this is what we're going to create from here, because we want to have sustainability and we want to have healthy, long lives in every area, healthy in every area.
That's true.
This is
That's true. I
awesome.
think we often get distracted by so much what's going on in the news and the administration because you keep saying, it's still money out there. And sometimes we hear this is going on, that's going on, and we're like, okay, everything's gone. And a lot of times we as Black and brown people, we automatically feel disqualified. They already cut us out. They ain't giving it to us. We ain't on the privilege bracket, but then we speak with people like yourself that like letting us know, hey, it's money still out there. Don't believe that it's all gone. Yes, it's crisis. Yes, it's some bad choices being made. We are losing money, but it is still money there. So
and crisis happens historically. This is not the first crisis. So we're in a crisis now, but there was a crisis 30 years ago. There was a crisis 100 years ago. So that is just something that happens in society and history. But the thing is I think the bottom line and the takeaway from here is, how do we retrain our thinking? How do we update our operating systems? How do we update supporting systems? How and in what ways do we do that? How is a prayer? You can pray that. How is a prayer? How do we do that? We can ask, we can set those things up. We can open our doors. We can be open to, support programs and different things like that. That will be resources for us and our people and people that we love and people who will follow in our generations, because we do. And I want to say that as I kind of one of my last comments, we do have the responsibility, and God has given us responsibility. And again, he's not coming down from heaven to do all those things. He's going to use you and me, all of us, to carry out his plans for the earth and to bring the church back on top.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Can you just say it again? Like for the person that's way, way in the back. I mean, they just turned on their hearing aid today. Can you just say it again, please? The God is not coming down. Can you just say
way in the back?
Way in the back.
Well, sometimes people are way in the back. But here's what I would say. It is time to rise. It is time to rise. It is time to take that autonomy and take back the authority, the spiritual authority, mental authority, health authority, and make things happen. It's time to get unstuck. And that means get your resources together, call Dr. Sundra and Dr. Sunderland, our team, and other people who are doing this as well. There are other people, not just us. I'm not the only one, but we want all boats to rise. So it is time to have the conversations. It is time to open up our hearts and use the resources. Again, my thing is, listen, let's tell the people way in the back, take the open door. When you see an open door, no longer just look at it. Let it rip. Run through the door. Take the door. Be conscious of the door. Maybe you weren't conscious of the door, Meechie, like you were just saying. Maybe you feel like, well, no. Guess what? I'm going to retrain my thinking, and we need to retrain our thinking because there is money out there. If not, how are all these people doing what they're doing still going on? If it's not, I mean, prove me wrong, because you can't.
You're right.
But it's about how we think, retraining our thinking, using our resources, leading well, taking our influence, and making things happen.
I love
that. Is really good. Now, before we lose sight of the time and before we go, we want to make sure everybody knows how to find you, like your social, your website. How do we get in touch and keep in touch with Dr. Sundra so we can keep getting this great information
to the
people?
So yes. I'm glad you asked. So one quick way to get in touch with me is my website, and it's www.drsundra.com. Or you can always email us, email my team, email me at hello@drsundra.com. And that's DRSUNDRA. And then my social media handles are just Dr. Sundra Ryce, and it's spelled differently, SUNDRA and RYCE. Okay, so it's different, but you can find me. And again, we have some leadership programs. We have some coaching programs. I'm actually doing a 12-month Year of Mastery program. It's a group coaching program. It's online. It is phenomenal right now. And registration is still open for a couple more weeks. And you can join this Year of Mastery. It's a cohort it's an amazing cohort. And what we're doing is we're together once a month. on the fourth Thursdays, and it's all things I'm teaching, and we are making it happen, letting it rip. But it's also a community of practice where, again, you come in and you're supported. It's a safe space. And we are, it's group coaching. And so I lead that, I facilitate that. Then I also have a program coming up at Pepperdine University. I have a collaboration with Pepperdine where we offer a leadership certificate program. You get a certificate of leadership and well-being and organizational wellness. This is in April, and you can go to Dr. Sundra. It's www.drsundra.com.
Okay.
So just a little different from what you have, but drsundra.com. Yeah. So you can do that. And I do have a giveaway tonight. I have a giveaway if we have time, Yolanda.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
We do.
So, again, leadership is so important to me, and having people, in the right space at the right time is so important to me. And so we are offering a scholarship tonight to our Leadership Network Year of Mastery Group Coaching Program. So to get on this list, and it's amazing. And if you do want to join the program too, we have payment plans where it's just like $100 a month or something like that, or $125. But you got to invest in your leadership. I've done that for many, many years. I've invested. I put money in. I didn't just get here just to get here. I got here because I've been coached. I've put it in. I put the time in, but I also made tremendous sacrifices to get coaching and to make sure my thinking was right, and to make sure all those things were aligned so that I could do what I do today. So, but we're going to give a scholarship away. So it will be, I would love to bless somebody because, again, this is bigger than me, and I want to give someone the opportunity to come. So you need to do two things. You need to, number one, go on our website, www.drsundra.com, and you need to sign up for our email list. So go on there, sign up on the email list. All you gotta do is put your name and email or something like that. And then number two, you gotta do two things. So you have to go on the website, join the email list. And the second thing is, drum roll, the second thing is I need you to email me at hello@drsundra.com and say, I want the scholarship. I want you to say two things. Go on the email.
Say the email address for us one more time.
Oh, hello@drsundra.com. So that's the email address. And so you do those two things and you say on there, I want the scholarship. So then we're going to look and see, did they sign up on the email list? And then we'll choose from there. And when I go and I speak, and I love to bless people. So this is just something I would love to give back to our community tonight, Meechie and Yolanda. And thank you for having me. I enjoyed it so much.
It's our pleasure.
Thank you.
No. It's our pleasure. I think we should have you on Shop Talk too. Okay. So we also have another show here called Shop Talk. It's kind of like barbershop conversation, but I think our Shop Talk audience.
Crazy.
Yeah, I could do a barbershop talk. I could do a barbershop conversation. It's funny. People bring me in. I do women's conferences, and I'm sure you can see that. But it's so funny now, Meechie. People are like, "We want you to come to our men's conference. We need you on stage for the men's conference." So definitely. I love all things women empowerment, but now it's like I think the guys are saying we need Dr. Sundra too. Don't just bring it to the women.
We have questions too.
Yes, we have questions too. I do have one more question for you, if that's okay. And then we always kind of do something here at Freedom Radio. We do like as we're wrapping up something, we ask you your final thoughts. I have one more question here actually, and you can just answer it in short form if you would like. How difficult is it? I want to make sure I get this question right that he asked me. Is it easier in 2026 as a female leader, or do you feel that there are still obstacles that need to be tackled?
Well, as I said, I believe this decade is a decade for the Black and brown woman, and I think that is the open door. So in that respect, yes, I have seen so much movement in the way of, with me being a leader and me being a woman and doing what I do. There are still challenges, but I would say we've come a long way. because there's still biases, there's still sexism there, there's still, the pay, the equal pay. That's a real issue. That is a real issue, that people show up in the same with the same qualifications, and then they're a different sex and they don't get the same pay. That is still a reality of what happens in our world. So I would say that, when you look, in academia, when you look in the marketplace, there's still some inequities, but these are the years that we have to take advantage of to get on top. And so I would say overwhelmingly, yes, we are moving forward. I am moving forward as a leader, and I'm refusing to play small, and I'm refusing to be invisible. I have a protest also against invisibility and smallness.
Wow. I love this. So again, thank you so much. It's been a joy to have you. Again, I really think you should come on Shop Talk. We on Wednesdays,
I will.
Freedom Radio at 1:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so it's just, we talk about all kinds of things there. And so if you're interested in getting involved or making sure you can grab this giveaway, you can go to her website at Dr. Sundra.com. And there's 2 parts. Sign up for her email address there. Then you would email her at hello.drsundra.com. Is that correct? Okay.
Hello at drsundra.com. Perfect.
Awesome.
And say, and you have to say, give me the scholarship. I want the scholarship.
It means you have to put a subject in the email, right?
Yes.
Right. Put a subject in the email, please. Okay. So this has been really great and wonderful. And I do want to be clear, for clarity's sake, we talked a lot about church. It's probably because we're church kids. We talked a lot about church, but you deal in the marketplace. You do not just deal in the church arena. You deal in the marketplace. You deal in corporate. So if you're watching this and you've really been trying to figure out how to better your business, how can I fix this? You need to reach out to Dr. Sundra. You need to reach out. Listen, you can't get better. People can't help with it. People cannot support what they don't know about. But you can't get better to what you won't confront. And if it's not working, then you need to find a way. Okay, this is there. There are more resources, I believe, in our time period than there's ever been. Yes. On GPT chat right now, you can give me 5 recipes for rice. I mean, and it's right there. So you can't say the help is not available, right? But as much as I like AI, I do think that nothing beats in-person experience. So please, if you need these services, reach out to her. We'll go, this way. So Meechie, your final word or thought?
Got me off guard here. Let me think. Listen. Yes, I do have something I want to say. Go to your music platform. Make sure you download new music by my boy Travis Malloy. Has dropped a new EP. It is fire. It is fire. It is fire. Yolanda has already mentioned Vincent Bohannon. My house has been a Travis Malloy, Vincent Bohannon day all day. I've been cleaning, listening to this music. Everything is amazing. Let's support our gospel music. Let's support our industry. Let's support our artists. Let's get behind them. Let's get their music, buy it, purchase it on Apple, Spotify. What's the other one? Tidal. Is that Tidal? Google Play. Let's support. Let's support. Let's support. Let's support. Let's go.
Let's go. Dr. I keep pointing so I remember the son. Okay, Dr. Sundra.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here, and I love you all, and I'm sending love your way, and I'm so excited to see what your next is and what God has for this earth through you.
Thank you. I received that. So here's always my thought. You get one life, and you have to live that one life to the best of your ability. Okay. If my mama was here, we're not cats. Amen. So we don't get to jump off of buildings and see if we can make it. Right. That's not the ability that the Lord has given us. What he did give you.
That'll be 9 lives.
You don't get 9 lives, right? But you do but he did give us the opportunity to try again. And you may say, I'm not a believer. Okay. But you still should give it everything you got every single day. If you woke up today, You have another chance. If you get to wake up tomorrow, which I really want you to do, and you have to live your life to the best of your ability every single day. There are thousands of people who left the earth with thousands of things still in them. That shouldn't be you. Exhaust all possibilities, figure it out, find it out, crawl. For whatever reason that comes to my thought, Dr. Sundra is the man who is at, no, this is my church. It's like there's a story in the Bible, you're a preacher, so you tell me if I get it right. And he's at this pool called the Bethesda pool, right? So this is how I see it, because I'm a kind of 90s kid. And so, visually, this is how I see it. He was at the pool. He didn't crawl. He did inch by inch each day. He just waited for someone to come and get him. Someone to salvage him, someone to save him. I hate to tell you this. It could be possible that no one's coming to save you. But God did give you everything you need to get what you need to get. Don't be like the guy stuck in the sea, and God sends boats and paddles and coats, and you say, you didn't come for me. Yes, I did. He's not coming down from heaven to save you. You say, Yolanda, I don't subscribe to none of that. I don't believe in any of that. Then cool. I just want to help you. You have everything inside you that you need to do what you need to do. Leave the world empty so that you can feel complete, like I think Cicely Tyson did. I just think she called it on her own. So I'm good. I'm ready to go. All right. So that's my thought to you. Thank you so much for hanging out here with me. Fresh Fridays. Listen, I do want to encourage this, as we always do. Please support gospel music. So there's Vincent Bohanna, there's Travis Malloy. Again, the Crushers was released at Pure Gold. You may say that's none of my sauce. That's fine. Then go listen to Kirk Franklin. If that's not your sauce, that's fine. Then go listen to somebody. Okay? Get some music inside of you, because music makes you feel good. Music can alter your mood. It does great things for you. All right. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. If you're snowed in for real, then please be safe. All right. See ya. Bye. Bye. And we